welcome to Witham's Real Talk, where we explore amazing tax opportunities in the real estate industry. Today's topic is the benefits of cost segregation. But in fact, this series has been 4 out of 4. And we've talked about QOZs, we've talked about REITs, we talked about like-kind exchanges. So make sure you tune in to these podcasts. I am Dave Springsteen, Senior Tax Leader at Witham, a leading proactive high-tech tax and advisory firm in the U.S. We are very fortunate today to have Mike Hurwitz and Martin Harski from our real estate group. Mike, a tax partner based in our New York office, providing strategic tax services from coast to coast, and Martin Harski, our cost seg leader, who's going to take years and years of experience to create opportunities and value in your building. Let's face it, guys, real estate, they're not making any more of it, but they're improving it. They're selling it, they're buying it, and some of us are dying with real estate. So let's talk about cost seg. But Michael, can you tell us in general terms, what is a cost segregation study?
Yeah, high level, Dave. Again, it's another tax deferral strategy. That's kind of where we started with this tax minimization. It's a weapon that our landlords, the owners of real estate, the landlords that are going out and thinking about acquiring real estate, where you basically segregate the costs and reclassify certain costs of the building from real property to personal property. And the reason for doing this is generally depreciate the real property, the building, the core structure and systems of the building are recovered over 39 years, whereas various personal property, tangible personal property in the building, sort of attached to the building, can be recovered over 5, 7, 15 years. And therefore, by changing the assets classification and segregating the costs to these shorter depreciable recovery periods, you get immediate tax deductions, which are very valuable.
Yeah, nice tax savings is what you're leading to, right?
Well, that's one of the biggest benefits, right? The benefit of the cost segregation study, Dave, you hit it on the head, is it reduces the tax liability. It's going to accelerate these deductions of depreciation, and it's going to reduce taxable income, improve your cash flows for the owner-operator. So those are the primary benefits of this.
Sounds like a big one. So, Martin, maybe you can dig into more detail about a cost seg study. Maybe by industry, maybe by type of building?
Well, again, Dave, it's all about, it's about the time value of the money, and that's important here for us. The cost segregation is going across all many different types of buildings and industries, from apartment complexes through the most complex manufacturing facilities, auto dealerships, office buildings, shopping centers, restaurants. So all these types of buildings really get a different outcome in terms of how much money we can reclassify out of 39 years. If it's a residential property, that will get 27 and a half years. So again, the premise there is trying to pull as much money out as we can from the 27 and a half years down to the 5 and 15. Same thing for commercial buildings, restaurants, shopping centers. For giving you an example, in a restaurant, we typically find anywhere from, say, 20% up to roughly 30, 35% of the 39-year life asset down into the 5, 7, and 15. 5-year life assets, as an example, would be the electrical hookups for the exhausting system in the kitchen area, or the plumbing hookups, the grease traps, all of these various components that are associated with what that building does outside the normal operation and maintenance of the building can be deemed to be a 5-year life. Land improvements, as an example, Dave, would be asphalt paving, landscaping, certain utilities. These type of things would be reclassified out. So again, typically you have 2 different types of studies done. You have a purchase study, and then you have a constructed study. The purchase study, we generally look for gathering all the lease informations, try to gather the blueprints. And again, from there, we will break apart these components using an engineering approach and to reestablish the cost of these assets. All our studies generally are following the IRS's audit technique guide that they have out there for us. So that gives
Okay.
you a little example.
Yeah. So, for example, you said purchase. So, if someone buys a building, that would be one class. What about improvements? We're all looking to fix up or improve our buildings, and often that happens when a tenant departs or leaves or wants a new fit out. Can you
Correct.
take that?
Correct. So again, after I purchase a building, or even if I constructed a building 5, 10 years ago, and you're always updating your buildings, be it from a retail building, a retail center, or an office building. So let's just say today Michael decides to leave the building, and you come to me, Dave, and you say, "Hey, Martin, Michael just left the building. I've got another tenant that wants to come into the space, but I don't like this the space there." And you make an agreement with the new tenant, and you give them a tenant build out. So you go in and you demolish the entire leasehold improvements that are in there. So if there's any value remaining basis of those assets that Michael used to have, you can write off those assets today as the remaining cost as an immediate expense. Then you're turning around and rebuilding the space out into somebody else's how they want it. Now, typically in today's rules, it's called qualified improvement property. This qualified improvement property can be written off over a 15-year tax life and receive bonus depreciation. Now, the catch there is if any of those improvements are related to the structure itself, that cannot be deemed to be QIP, which means it has to go to a 39-year tax life, therefore would not receive bonus depreciation.
Okay. Good. So, Michael, just a quick question. We want to make sure we find all opportunities that we can. Often, real estate is held by a partnership, and partners come and go. They're purchased by other partners or sold to a third party. Is there any benefits in a cost seg when a partner sells his interest and bought by another partner with a step up basis and the
Well,
book up?
yeah, I think when one partner sells and that partner's selling the interest, which is deemed to be the underlying assets in that partnership. So that partner may have a gain or loss on the sale. It's a capital asset. You would look down below to see what they have. Usually in real estate, it's just a land and building. The new partner coming in buys that, gets the carryover in basis, but then as you alluded to, you'd get a step up in basis. And the difference between the inside tax basis coming over and the purchase price of what the new partner's paying, you get that step up, the base adjustment, and then you can allocate it to the underlying assets of the partnership. Generally, it's allocated, there's a code section 755, but it's generally allocated to land, building, and then some of those shorter lived assets. And that partner, too, would be able to benefit from some of the cost segregation studies that have been done.
Sure. And maybe even on a passing of an owner of real estate, there's a step up in the estate. So, Martin, have you been involved in those kind of analysis?
Yes, I have. After doing this for 43 years in the cost seg world, I've done numerous of these step ups. So really, when you're looking at this, Dave, Michael and you are partners and you decide, "Hey, Michael, I'm out of this. I want to leave." You both agree upon an appraisal and you come up with an appraisal with the fair market value of your interests. And Michael buys that out. And that's the new basis. So Michael has his original basis of depreciation, his now basis that he just received from you from the purchase and the step up, he gets all brand new depreciation. So that's again the premise here of trying to reestablish new depreciable lives for all of these assets that he just purchased.
Okay, good. Often we see an example where we may have taken advantage of a rollover, a like kind exchange, but the new money goes into the deal and substantial improvements are made. Can you talk to that new money? Can you do a cost seg on the new money?
Yes, on the new money that you bring into a deal, you can get all brand new depreciation again, like it was a brand new building again. So we're doing some studies as we speak with that. Again, someone's paid out $12 million above and beyond what they did. So we're looking at the $12 million to see what we can pull out for them in this building.
Great. Another amazing benefit in the real estate industry. Michael, closing remarks. Since you drive value to the real estate industry from coast to coast, any last comments on cost seg or QOZs or 1031s and how they all kind of get together to drive value?
Well, it's all about, minimizing taxes, reducing taxes, deferring taxes, increasing cash flow for our clients. And here, even though I'm not an engineer, which Martin is, one of the biggest weapons we use in real estate is a cost segregation study to accelerate that depreciable and to accelerate the depreciation expense. And we utilize and bring in Martin and his group quite often to help out our landlords.
Great. Gentlemen, thank you for giving us some insight on cost segs. There will be more podcasts in the future for the real estate industry. Please reach out to Martin or Michael if you have any questions about cost segregation studies or real estate in general. Know before you go, as I say. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dave.
Dave. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Michael.